Welcome back to Set Streets and Needs, guys. I'm Chris Bauer. I am in front of a 2.0 remodeled Chuck E. Cheese in Arlington, Texas today. That is not very normal for me, as you guys know. There is a special reason I'm in front of this one. This has a ton of history. This opened as a Pizza Time Theater in October of 1980. This was the first Pizza Time Theater in Texas. This was the 16th Pizza Time Theater ever opened. Nolan Bushnell was here at the opening of this Pizza Time Theater. This opened with a balcony stage. It was the first store to actually open with one, as opposed to having a portrait stage and then moving into the balcony stage. This actually opened with one. So this is an important store from different historical standpoints, which we'll go over inside. But more importantly, this is this store's last week of operation. This store behind me will be closing this week forever, as sad as that is to hear. So I thought I would go ahead and take this opportunity, being it's the last couple of days it's going to be open, to stop by here and talk about the history of the Arlington, Texas store while I still can, because by the time you see this, I believe it will be the last day it's open. So really, today is the closing day of Arlington, Texas. Chuck E. Cheese, former Chuck E. Cheese's Pizza Time Theater and former Showbiz. We'll talk a little bit about that. So let's go see it.
Say Chuck E. Cheese. Smile America, say Chuck E. Cheese. Food and games and all kinds of creatures. Oh, taste the Pizza Time Theater. Smile America, say Chuck E. Cheese. You can smile.
Make believe you're in outer space. Throw a party at Chuck E.'s place.
You can smile.
Watch the game go wild. So much fun you can't help but smile. You can smile.
Chuck E. Cheese. Smile America, say Chuck E. Cheese. Food and games and all kinds of creatures. Oh, taste the Pizza Time Theater. You can smile America. Smile America. Smile America, say Chuck E. Cheese.
So as you can see behind me, this was, as you can see, the showroom over in here. I'm actually standing in what used to be, that would have been the lounge area or the cabaret. I can't remember exactly which one. They kind of were both next to each other back in the old layout. But this, of course, got the 2.0, I believe, back in 2018 or 2019. But of course, this opened as Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater in 1980. It opened with Madam Oink as its guest star. It ran that way, I believe, until 1986, when it got, of course, after the merger, they went ahead and put Helen Henney in as the permanent star instead of Madam Oink. I'm sure it had some of the other guest stars in it as well. But it had opened with Dolly Dimples playing the cabaret. And what was really great about this store is this was one of the few stores they put in the experimental Beatles, or Beagles, sorry, they played the Beatles songs, but they had the experimental Beagles in here. I'll put up some photos of those. They definitely looked different from what they ended up settling on. So these guys looked a lot different from the originals, or from the ones that we all came to know. And they had those in here for, I'm not sure how long before they switched them out. Could have been about a year. Maybe a little bit less, but they definitely looked a lot different. After Dolly actually was in for, I forget how many years she was in for playing the cabaret, they did replace her with a king. And he was actually all the way up to the late 80s before they did, I believe when they did the 1988 update in here, the remodel, that's when they tore him out. It could have even been the late or the early 90s. But he lasted a pretty long time.
It's tough being a kid. Fancy parties, scratchy clothes, and you have to smile no matter what.
Ooh, give Andy a big kiss.
See what I mean?
Buy at Chuck E. Cheese if you act like a kid. You can have more fun than you ever did. You can giggle, you can wiggle, you can flip your lid. Chuck E. Cheese, where a kid can be a kid.
Something else they tested here was called surprises. This was back in the mid-80s. This was where they were planning on doing small, everyday items as animatronics. Tape recorders and things you would find around the house, little pieces of a corner of a wall. But they would place them around stores, and then they would come to life when you walked by them on motion sensors, and they would give you a compliment or tell you a joke. And they tested that here. The one they had here was a little wagon filled with flowers. So it's a little flower patch. When you walked past it, it gave you compliments or told you some jokes. It wasn't here very long, but it also was the predecessor to the flower patch that that used to be in front of the rocker stages, which is appropriate because this was the store they installed the very first rocker stage at in 1987. The very first rocker stage went into here in 1987, and they even experimented with a live feature for the rocker stage, which some of you guys have seen. If you've seen pictures from it, it's actually from this store. They would take the Chucky animatronic out of the right where he's in front of the front door, and they added in the live cosplayer in the Chucky costume. He would come out and perform live with the band as they stayed on the porch, and he would perform for the audience. They started performing those performances in May of 1987, but the rocker stage was here all the way up until I believe they installed a 2-stage in the early 1990s, and so on. Stages would go until the remodel in the late 2010s. So outside, I brought up that this used to be a showbiz, and that's because after or during the 1988 remodel, they took down the Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater sign out front, and they replaced it with a showbiz sign. So that's really interesting. I'll put a shot of it up, that they actually had a showbiz sign out front of here, but there was no rocket fire explosion up front. But they had a back room in the back that they used for Chuck E. Cheese University. This is where they would train their techs for games and shows, and their regional managers for just how to run stores. But because they were training them in the back, they actually had a full rocket fire explosion set up in the back of the store. Not, of course, out front to perform. That was when they had the rocker stage. But they actually had a rocket fire explosion perform out back. But this was a showbiz pizza. Out front in the late 80s up to the early 90s. So that was kind of a very unique feature for this store, to have a showbiz, to be a showbiz, but to actually have a Munch's Make Believe Band rocker stage be the entertainment. One more note about that back room, Chuck E. University. 10 years after that, in 1996, they would use that same room to set up the Awesome Adventure Machine and program it, use it to train people to program it on that as well. So that had that set up in the back as well. So it actually had 2 pretty cool, unique stages set up back there in its tenure as Chuck E. University tech training, or show training, I should say. And this was Chuck E. University back here. Don't really want to go in there, just says it's off limits, but that's the room. They used to have the 3-stage set up. It had the Awesome Adventures Machine set up. That's where they would train their techs, and a lot of history happened in that room. Today, the arcade has made up some fun games that we've all known to, or come to love and expect at a Chuck E. Cheese. As I walked around earlier, I noticed that the basketball game was expecting me. Oh boy, let's see what we got today. Oh, but it's gonna be multiple chances. Oh no, this is not good. You'd think I would have gotten one of these, but it's not to be. Let's try this side. Oh my goodness, this is the side. No. Oh, we got two. We only got two. Oh, we got three. Here it comes. Look at this, y'all. Four. You can almost imagine what it was like. This is a pretty good sized store, too. So it's had, of course, multiple remodels before it got the 2.0. But you can imagine, based off a lot of the photos that are taken from the store, they're on showbizpizza.com. I mean, it's changed so dramatically. The hallway's kind of the only thing you can still kind of match some of it up to. But really, it's this one corner right here. I'll put up the photo. Because of the way the corner is, you can kind of match where the ice cream stand was, or the ice cream bar was. And it's just because it has that same flat corner. I will say there's a picture of the kitchen where the walk-in is. Looks like it could be the same, like the wall. I'll put that photo up too, because that's probably not changed a whole lot, I would think. But you know, everything else has out here. They've definitely changed a whole lot over the years, but it's a shame this store is closing. It's a very beautiful store. Kind of makes you wonder why it's closing. But, you know, it is what it is. Not much you can do about it. You know, these stores come and go. It's a shame that this one, being 44 years old, couldn't make it. I mean, you can just imagine this was where the rocker stage was. Right there. And before that, the portrait stage. All the cheese crawl was right there. Lunches and maybe. Or it could have been on the other side of the room, honestly, because the rocker stage actually led to the play area on either side of it. So it could have just been at that side of the wall and then went off into the play area. Or it could have been over here. I'm not 100% sure because of the way it exited to the side. I'm not exactly sure how the layout went, but actually it would make sense that it was over there. If you put the rocker stage right there and then it exited to the play area that side, that'd make a lot of sense. And then have it in front of it, but I really don't know. It was on one of these 3 or 4 sides of the room, so it's hard to tell once they do the remodels. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of you know, of the remodels. So it's hard to tell, but it definitely happened in this room. That's the only thing you know for sure, is that those stages were in this showroom, and it looked a lot different, and it was cool, and all that history happened. And now, today, as you're watching it, is their last day of business. And tonight, all these folks will go home, and the staff is gonna clean and lock up the doors for the last time. 44 years. And all this history's gone. It's a bummer.
Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese. We love it for its great new pizza. We love it for the fun with Chuck E. Cheese. Great new pizza. Fun with Chuck E.
Now you can have one of these Chuck E. t-shirts for your very own for only $2.99. And I'll give you a coupon for tokens worth $3 on your next visit.
My face got happy when I went to Chuck E. Cheese. We love to go to Chuck E. Cheese.
So something cool, there is a game that's been with Chuck E. Cheese since the very beginning, over 40 years ago, and it's this one, Seawolf. Now I've seen this, I've put it in a couple of my videos, but there's the history behind it, we'll talk about it. So Seawolf came out in 1976, it's built by Midway, and what's cool about it, and the reason we know it was since the beginning, was there is a game inventory for Hoosier Road in San Jose, which was the second Pizza Time Theater location. And there isn't one for Winchester Road, but there is one for Hoosier Road. So Winchester Road, of course, was the first one, and Cruiser Road was the second one. And on that game inventory is Seawolf, this very game where you operate a submarine and you try to sink other people's subs and battleships, just like the game Battleship. And this has been here. That was on that Cruiser Road Fantasy Forest game inventory. It was in their arcade, and it's been in Chuck E. Cheese's arcades from Fantasy Forest of Pizza Time Theaters all the way up through Chuck E. Cheese's ever since. Almost 50 years. Coming up on 50 years here in 3 years. So for 47 years, it's been in Chuck E. Cheese's. And here we are in the 16th Chuck E. Cheese ever opened, in the third oldest operating Chuck E. Cheese, at least as of midday today. And here we are, looking at Seawolf still. It's the only game that at least we know of for sure, because of that Cruiser Road game inventory, that has been with Chuck E. Cheese since the beginning, which I think is pretty cool. It used to be a taller stand-up game. The one that was in the 70s was more of a cabinet game, which all the games were. And over the years, of course, it's got a little bit shorter, which is better for the kids. They don't have to have the stools to play them. But yeah, it's still here. And the kids still love it, because I had to wait about 6 or 7 minutes to be able to talk to you about it, because there was a line of kids playing it, even on a weekday afternoon. So Seawolf has stood the test of time of popularity at Chuck E. Cheese, even in a store that's closing. So I'm gonna get my sketch, because this is Arlington, it's the last one. I've never gotten a sketch while I'm doing a video, so I thought I'd better go ahead and do one. Since this is gonna be the last one, I'm gonna do a 2-person sketch, since I'm huge.
Now smile. The countdown is about to begin.
Begin the countdown.
5,
All right.
4, 3, 2, 1. Smile for Chucky.
And I smiled.
First, I'll start with an outline.
All right, Chuck's gonna draw me. Let's watch him do
A
it.
little more shady. Thank you for using
Looky
Chucky's
there.
sketchbook. Your sketch is printing and will be ready in
Thanks,
less
Chuck.
than a minute.
My goodness. Well, that wasn't it, thankfully. That looks like someone's butt. There I am. There I am, guys. I wish it said Arlington on it, because that would be a collector's item. Alright, guys, well, there's not much left to see here. However, I figured it was probably a good thing to do to get one last high five from Chuck, but from this angle, so you guys can enjoy me doing it. I don't normally do it, but this is it. Ready for it, Chuck? One last at Arlington, Texas. We'll see you next time. Well, not this one. High five, Chuck. Well, hope you guys enjoyed the last visit definitely of mine, but most people's, to the Arlington, Texas Chuck E. Cheese. I got a little last souvenir from Arlington. It's a good likeness. Chuck's a great drawler. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed it. See you at the next one, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye now.